and it is also used to treat conditions that lead to muscle loss, such as cancer and stage 3 HIV or AIDS.
Some of the medical information. Side effects include acne, blurred vision, muscle weakness, weight gain, mood changes, insomnia, hair loss, lower resistance to. I'm sorry, my dog is. No, my dog is crying.
Oh, you're talking.
Lower resistance to infections. Hold on.
It's all right. We don't care.
Okay. Lower resistance to infection, stomach irritation, swollen face, water retention, easy bruising, skin discoloration, kidney, liver, heart disease, also osteoporosis, which is weak and brittle bones, cataracts, which is cloudiness in the lens of the eye, and glaucoma, which is optic nerve damage due to pressure. And there are many ways that steroids are administered. Through the mouth, it can be by tablets, syrups, liquids, or inhalers. Through the nose, it could be through nasal sprays. Through the skin, it could be by creams, lotions, or gels. And when it's intramuscular, it's injected into joints, muscles, or blood vessels.
Mm-hmm. Has anybody ever got a steroid shot inside like a joint?
Yeah, I've gotten cortisone injections, like other, yeah.
Yep, because they do that too. Now, go ahead, sorry.
Okay, so to continue about medical information, for dosage recommendation, it varies on medical condition and like strength of the certain steroid, but for children, it's usually 0.14 to 2 milligrams per kilograms of body weight daily. For adults, it's 5 to 60 milligrams, and then for elders, it's 7.5 to 30. But then again, it all depends on the condition and the strength of the medication. And for possible drug interactions, steroids can increase the effects of like blood thinners, raising the risk of like severe complications. Steroid medications can also weaken the immune system, like said before, can increase infection and make you more susceptible to getting an infection. And then when mixed with anti-nausea medicine, it can actually cause nausea if anything were to ever occur.
Cool.
Okay, so here are some overdose symptoms. The four most common symptoms of a majority of steroid overdoses are coma, stroke, heart attack, and muscle convulsions. Although, as we said before, there are two main different types of steroids, which are the anabolic steroids and corticosteroids, and both of these come with their own set of symptoms. An overdose of anabolic steroids usually shows symptoms of kidney or liver damage, increased blood pressure, high cholesterol levels, major mood swings, aggression, delusions, and stunted growth in youth users. And an overdose of corticosteroids shows symptoms of burning or itchy skin, muscle convulsions, psychosis, high blood pressure, high temperature, muscle and bone weakness, vomiting, extreme sleepiness, depression, and swelling in the legs.
So there are a growing concern about the potential dangerous effects of steroid exposures on a developing human brain. It is plausible, even though not proven, that negative neurodevelopment impacts may occur. In today's society, people are willing to take risks to excel in sports and perform their jobs better. Also, we live in a society where image is paramount to some people. Therefore, the popularity of performance-enhancing drugs such as anabolic steroids and anabolic steroid substitute products are the choice for some people to achieve their goals. Steroid abuse is still a problem despite the illegal of the drug and the banning of steroids by various sports authorities and sports governing bodies.
Mm-hmm.
In 1990, the Congress passed the Anabolic Steroids Enforcement Act, classifying steroids as a Schedule III under the Controlled Substance Act, or CSA. A Schedule III drug must be prescribed for medical use in order to use this drug legally, otherwise it is illegal. It has a moderate to low physical and psychological dependence. They're not as abusive as Schedule I or Schedule II drugs, but more abusive than Schedule IV drugs.
Mm-hmm.
For famous cases, most of the cases do have to relate to sports, almost all of them actually. So one of them is Lyle Alzado. He admitted to using steroids through his entire career, and though it was never conclusively linked by doctors, he believes that is what caused his brain cancer. It kind of sent a powerful message to other athletes and fans everywhere about the danger of steroids. For Tony Mandarich, he also admitted to using steroids before college, but he said he stopped when entering the NFL. But he did recall faking a drug test before the Rose Bowl. Caminiti, after time, also admitted he used steroids for most of his career. He also had problems with alcohol and cocaine. In 2 years after the story was published, of that he admitted he used all this, he died of a heart attack brought on by all the extensive drug use. And then for Jose Canseco, he wrote a controversial book actually that not only contained admissions of steroids and like how he used them, but he also named several other prominent players that he claimed also used steroids. In some cases, he actually talked about personal incidences and personal times where he injected his teammates with illegal steroids.
Wow. Was it, if I'm mistaken, Lance Armstrong? Wasn't that his thing with the Tour de France? I think. And what about, what's his name? A-Rod. Was A-Rod?
Oh yes, I did find something on A-Rod. I just didn't add it in the presentation.
Yeah, no, that's okay. But I think there was a big thing with A-Rod, how he was using anabolic steroids. And Lance Armstrong, he won the Tour de France many times, and it turns out that he was tested and came out positive for steroids, and so his Tour de France crown got taken away from him. So there's a lot. I mean, that's good what you did. You had 4, which is fine, but there's a lot of instances where steroid abuse, because it is illegal, and of course with Olympics, remember the whole Olympics. The Russian team, I think the Russian team or the Chinese was totally eliminated from one of the Olympics because of steroid abuse. Very, very interesting. Good. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Here's some extra information involving steroids. So the incorrect use of steroids can lead to an increased risk of cardiovascular problems, such as sudden cardiac death or myocardial infarction. It also leads to an increased risk of liver problems, including tumors and other damage, and an increased risk of tendon rupture due to the degeneration of collagen, osteoporosis, and bone loss. Another piece of information is that dietary supplements are often purchased and used by people to get the same effect of steroids without the medical consequences associated with them. Although this belief is both dangerous and false, that supplements can have the same medical consequences as steroids. Another interesting fact is that among U.S. high school students, 4.9% of males have used anabolic steroids in their life, and 2.4% females have. Yeah. And then with the criminal penalties associated with steroids, the possession of illegally obtained anabolic steroids carries a minimum penalty of a $1,000 fine and a maximum penalty of 1 year in jail. And the trafficking of steroids has a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison and a fine of $250,000.
Wow. Very interesting. Awesome. Cool. Good job, you guys. That was very informative. So I am going to be posting, that's why I want you guys to send me a copy of these Google Slides, because I am going to be posting these presentations on Google Classroom so that you guys could always go back to it for information, okay? And as I was sitting here, it's already like 20 minutes in. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to call it. We're going to do 3 presentations today, if we have time, 4, all right? And then Monday, we'll do the rest. So I'm calling it that the quiz won't be until Thursday, plus it'll give you more time to gather your notes and stuff like that. Is that okay with everybody? Right?
Yeah.
That's better. Okay. So why don't we do that? Okay, because I am recording this. So today we'll just do Who's the next? Is it Club Drugs is next?
Yeah.
Okay, and then who's after Club Drugs?
Hallucinogens.
Hallucinogens. So why don't we do steroids, Club Drugs, definitely hallucinogens, and who's after hallucinogens? Anybody?
After
Stimulants.
hallucinogens is stimulants.
Is stimulants. So if we have time, we'll do stimulants, but we'll definitely do the Club Drugs and hallucinogens, okay? And then on Monday, we'll do the rest. So your quiz is not Monday. So what you should be doing is after today, gather your stuff, put it, in a nice, put it in the documents, each sheet that I gave you. And then Monday we'll do the rest, okay? All right, so that was pretty interesting. I had a friend, you guys, plus it gives us more time for questions and stuff like that. I had a friend who I knew because I lived in Hawaii. I was married to a military guy. And when we were living in Hawaii, I had a really, really close friend who bodybuilt, and he took steroids. And oh my God, talk about like his personality changed. He's such a nice guy, but his personality changed big time when he was on them, and eventually he got off of them. And then
It
he
kind of
got
reminds me
of acne on him. I'm sorry, Joey, go ahead.
It kind of reminds me of actually that video that I sent you. The
Yeah,
Chris.
I didn't get to finish it. I started watching it, but I will finish watching it. Very, very interesting, Joey.
Yeah, no, Chris Benoit, and he was one of the best.
Yeah, very interesting. I am going to finish watching that. I actually have that on my list to do's today. So cool. All right. Anybody have any questions about the steroids? Anybody? That was very informative. Thank you so much. All right. So Club Drugs. Where are my Club Drugs people?
Right here.
All right. And wait, let's see we've got Joey, Robert, Michelle, and Haley.
Okay. So, Club
Okay.
drugs are also known as designer drugs. They can be classified as depressants, stimulants, or hallucinogens, so they kind of vary in where they fall.
Yeah, and some of these do overlap, especially the Club Drugs. They do overlap into other categories. That was good to point out.
Most are illegal and uncontrolled, and they fall underneath Schedule 1 and 2, and are also used in date rape cases.
Mm-hmm.
There's a video, it's like 2 minutes. It kind of goes through everything, so is that okay?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Club drugs are a group of psychoactive drugs. They act on the central nervous system and can cause changes in mood, awareness, and how you act. These drugs are often abused by young adults at all-night dance parties, dance clubs, and bars. They include methylmethamphetamine, MDMA, also known
That's
as
5 times fast.
X, E, Atom, Molly, codeines, and love drug. Gamma hydroxybutyrate, GHB, also known as G, liquid ecstasy, and soap. Ketamine, also known as Special K, vitamin K, and jet. Rohypnol, also known as roofies.
Wow, this is a good video.
Also known as speed, ice, chalk, mac, crystal, crank, and glass. Lysergic acid diethylamide, LSD, also known as acid, blotter, and dots. Some of these drugs are approved for certain medical uses. Other uses of these drugs are abuse. Club drugs are also sometimes used as state-rape drugs to make someone unable to say no to or fight back against sexual assault. Abusing these drugs can cause serious health problems and sometimes death. They are even more dangerous if you use them with alcohol.
I don't know why they talked like that, but the video.
That was really good. That's a good one. Wow. Cool. Go ahead. Sorry.
So while not many of these drugs have prescribed medical uses, there are still a few that do. For example, GHB, while being a club drug / depressant, sometimes it's used medically in low doses to treat narcolepsy. And ketamine can be used for anesthesia or treating chronic pain. And also sometimes when other methods fail, it can be used to control epileptic seizures. And Rohypnol is used in Xanax and Valium, so while not being the exact prescription, it can still be used in a medical scenario.
All right, side effects. The side effects of most club drug or most common club drugs is sense of euphoria / calm state of mind for extended periods of time, extreme anxiety or severe anxiety depending on dosage or how much you took. Most of the time, if you overdose or take any other or combine any other drugs, it results in a loss of consciousness or most severe cases coma for varying periods of time. And if you overdose on most drugs like Molly or ecstasy, if you overdose on ecstasy, your body temperature skyrockets and you experience organ failure and then death. But for most other, besides ecstasy and ecstasy and Molly, you have to take extreme amounts of the drug to actually die. So you would have to do a lot, and I mean a lot, to kill yourself. So that just goes to show how weak not weak, but the effects they have.
What drug were you just talking about?
Ecstasy and Molly. You have to take a lot of it to overdose.
For the interactions, you can honestly buy it off the street, but it can also be in your system against your will. Like, someone can lace it into your drink. I mean, it was a kind of, tough finding interactions because, not really something you can find easily off the internet, but, they do say that most of the time it can be laced into your drink. So, which makes me believe that, it can be against your will to have it in your system. Like, you can go to a club or a bar or something and, the bartender can just fool around.
Yeah, and you have to be very, very careful. And, I always worry, that is my worry with a lot of you going on to college. And, once you get are in, situations, never leave your drink unattended, ever. Okay, so, be very careful with that. Yep. I'm sorry, Joey, go ahead.
So the precaution, it's pretty standard. They're highly addictive, and they're not easy to detect because they can be laced in drinks, and most of them are tasteless. Overdose symptoms are kind of hand in hand with side effects. It's loss of consciousness, seizures, increase in blood pressure, and hyperthermia, which is what Robert was talking about, when the body overheats to such a extreme degree that you could pass out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty easy to spot an overdose from these drugs, but not easy to spot the effects of those drugs.
For the famous cases ones, I actually found these off these documentaries I was watching. One of them was Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger actually, ironically, died from playing the part of the Joker. He played the Joker in the Batman movie, The Dark Knight, Christian Bale. And then after that, he just started living the part. He was seriously living the part. And, just long story short, he unfortunately overdosed himself with club drugs. I mean,
Do you know which one it was?
I believe one of them was, if I was not mistaken, I do believe it did say something about how he would mess himself up with ecstasy. And then, I think that what he died from was cocaine. And as for the next case, the Lilo Brancato case, Lilo Brancato was most known for his talent in A Bronx Tale.
Right.
And one night in December of 2005, him and his ex-girlfriend's father went into this dude's house to rob him of drugs. And an off-duty police officer, Daniel Ortega, he went into that house, and they all said he was a cop's cop. He was a hometown hero. He went into the house to see what happened, resulting in a gunfight with Brancato and his partner, and the partner ended up shooting the cop dead. Lilo Brancato served 8 years in prison, released in 2013, and he's clean now, but let's just say his career is done. No one will respect that man. No one will work with that man because of all the bad things that happened on that night.
Good. Yeah.
And there are references.
Awesome. Good job, you guys. That was very, very informative. Awesome. Cool. Like I said before, those of you, well, we have everybody here. Those of you that came in late, I am going to post the 3 that we're going to do. We probably only have time for the 3 today. I will post them. Make sure you have somebody share from your group, share you Google Slides with me, and I will post them on Google Classroom so you can always go back to them for the information. Remember, use your review sheet. The stuff that you need to know about all of these is just general information about, what schedule they're in, side effects, interactions, all that kind of stuff. All right. All right. So next is it hallucinogens?
Yeah, that's us.
All right, hallucinogens.
All right.
You're up. Good job. Club drugs. Good job.
Sorry, I need to share my screen real quick.
And who's in this group? Oh, Will. Oh, good. Did somebody share? Did somebody share
Yeah,
with me?
I did at the beginning.
Good. Club drug people. Did somebody share your slide with me already?
Yes.
Okay, good job. And steroid people, did somebody share? Steroid people, did somebody share the slides with me yet? Where's my Julia, Hirsch, Mario, Harmony, or Enya? Could somebody answer me?
I am checking now if they're shared.
Okay, so please make sure you do, okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right, hallucinogens, Will, Jack, and Emma. Oh my God, the screen makes me feel like I'm hallucinating. Oh my God. All right, go to it, guys.
Alrighty, so we had hallucinogens, and much like other drugs in general, there are a lot of precautions that you need to make sure you look at before you take them, such as the state of your health, both mentally and physically. Hallucinogens can be used to help people with bipolar disorder or schizophrenia, believe it or not. So making sure you have a stable mental ability before you take this is important to avoid serotonin overdose or overstimulation of the brain. It's also important to look at your body weight intake and just overall your body, because if you take too much, it could send you into a shock or worse.
So some of these are actually prescribed, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so right now you're talking about, because there are illegal ones, but you're talking about the legal controlled drug ones.
Well, just in general, really.
Okay.
Because even the illegal ones, if you have a bad mental health, you can get what is called a bad trip, which is, again, kind of sent into a state of shock.
Mhm.
So yeah, but the prescribed ones are drugs such as like lithium
Mhm.
and other ones in that category. So something else you need to make sure you're careful of is combinations such as alcohol and these drugs, and the quality of where you're getting it. If it's not prescribed to you, you shouldn't be taking it. But if you do end up taking it, you have to make sure that where you're getting it from is a reliable source because it could be laced with something. Next is the dosage. Children and elderly people aren't really known to be taking lithium due to the fact that, or just hallucinogens in general, due to the fact that it is such a strong prescription drug, but adults are usually recommended 15 to 30 milligrams. Side effects of this drug, the illegal kind, include dizziness, drowsiness, hallucinations, lack of appetite, vomiting, numbness, and panic attacks. There are many different kinds of hallucinogens, but some of the more common illegal kinds are LSD, DMT, and ketamine, also PCP.
And that's pronounced the PSILOCYBIN. It's pronounced psilocybin. And that, I know you would never think that, but it's psilocybin, yeah.
And as I said before, lithium is one of the more commonly known legal hallucinogens.
Okay, so I did the controversy slides. So one of the big issues is that when you take hallucinogens, you can develop a high degree of tolerance. So people who take it are going to seek out something stronger each time. Because of the short-term nature of the studies, because it's relatively new, there isn't really strong evidence for what hallucinogens do to the body long-term. There were some studies in the early 60s as possible treatment in psychotherapy, but because of controversy and public outcry, the drug was moved to be allowed in scientific studies only, and the FDA strictly limited pharmaceutical manufacture. Next slide.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. So administration, it's generally administered in a capsule, pill, or liquid form, and the drug has a variable delay, which means that it takes 20 to 30 minutes to fully take effect on the user. But with a stronger drug, you could see like a 15-minute variable delay. In some instances, the drug can be inhaled, snorted, or absorbed through drug-soaked pieces of paper. So there really aren't that many famous cases directly related to hallucinogens because they're a fairly new drug, and they're kind of physically limiting due to their hallucinogenic effects. So people who take them aren't going to be going very far committing crimes. So these cases are not directly related to hallucinogens, but have bearing on them. United States versus Brown charged Corrigan Brown with a string of armed robberies while he was addicted to drugs. Brown pleaded insanity under drug addiction to the Supreme Court, who decided that jury instructions were not properly considered in the case, and was remanded, which means it was moved to a lower court. In effect, that means that drug addiction can be the basis for an insanity plea. You can move on. Okay. Possible interactions. Again, like due to the limiting nature of hallucinogens on the mind, it would be rare for the user to be on multiple drugs while using hallucinogens.
Are you saying, Jack, because you're literally hallucinating, so you're not really in reality, and that's why they don't?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so difficult for you to be really doing anything other than that.
Right. Gotcha.
That you wouldn't really see somebody on anything else.
Right.
And because of that, there's really no studies on using the drug with something else. But we do know of an antagonist which limits and blocks the drug, which is chlorpromazine. And that it blocks LSD at low dosages, and it limits the effect entirely.
Oh, I never knew that.
Okay, I'm all good.
Okay, so the medical use of hallucinogens, they first saw they saw their first medical use in the mid 1960s when it was used as a battlefield anesthetic in the Vietnam War. Also, they were used for religious purposes and healing rituals, and they would use them to have spiritual experiences. And they are currently being investigated as therapeutic agents to treat people with mental disorders such as schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and dementia. However, there are currently little to no medical uses for hallucinogens, and very little of them are legal. The schedule for hallucinogens, most of them are a Schedule 1 drug, meaning they have little to no medicinal uses and have a high potential for abuse and physical or psychological dependence. Very few hallucinogens are legal in the United States because they are a Schedule 1 drug, and possession of them can lead to harsh punishments such as prison time and other punishments as well. And then the subgroup and class, hallucinogens are commonly split into two categories, which are classic hallucinogens such as LSD and dissociative drugs such as PCP.
Here's our references.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. All right. Good job, you guys. Good job. All right. All right. Good. Let's see. It's 11:10. Stimulants, you want to go?
Sure.
Yeah, why don't you just do it? Why don't we do it? All right, stimulants, good job. Hallucinogens, good information. Stimulants, did somebody share the slide with me?
Yeah, I did.
You did? Okay, great. And Alec did talk to me. He's not present today. He had to do something with his grandmother today, so but I see everybody else. Good. All right, stimulants. Wow, good job, guys.
So general overview, stimulants increase activity in the brain, producing higher levels of dopamine, rewarding behavior, and I never really found out how to pronounce that. I'm going to assume.
Norepinephrine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Increased heart rate, blood sugar, breathing, etc. Decreased blood flow, increased blood pressure, opened up breathing passages. And that normally leads to cardiovascular issues and liver failure later in life. So repeated use of these stimulants can result in psychosis, paranoia, anger, and it can also result in substance use disorder. It's important to note that all stimulants are different. Each drug has characteristics that vary, and prescription stimulants are still very dangerous if overused. So marijuana has properties of stimulants, hallucinogens, and depressants, but I just focused more on the stimulants.
Yeah, isn't that, I'm so sorry, you're right. Isn't that weird how marijuana is in several categories? That was good to point out. Yep, good. Keep going, sorry.
It acts as a stimulant in the following ways: increased heartbeat, paranoia, anxiety, and mood. It's legal for recreational. Oh my God, I can't talk today.
That's right.
Recreational use in medical use in some states. It's a Schedule 1 drug in others. If you look at the map, you can.
Oh, sorry, hold on, let me get it away for you. Okay.
Yeah. So, go on.
So the black is the legal, right?
Right. Right.
Okay.
And then anything that's gray is fully illegal.
The gray is fully illegal. And the
Yes.
green, what is the green?
The lighter green is decriminalized, and the darker green is medical use only.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
That's an interesting slide. Oh, there it is. I see. Okay, good. All right.
So cocaine, it's extremely addictive. stimulant made from the leaves of the coca plant in South America. Cocaine acts as a stimulant in the following ways: intense happiness, energy, mental alertness, paranoia, and hypersensitivity to light and sound. Cocaine is illegal in all US states. Laws for possession, distribution, and manufacturing vary. Cocaine is a Schedule II drug. Cocaine is associated with making individuals mentally alert. Truck drivers may use cocaine to stay awake during long drives. It is highly addictive. Pablo Escobar is famous for dealing large amounts of cocaine and distributing it across the world, more specifically to Miami. And Whitney Houston died via drowning in a bathtub while under the influence of cocaine. So next is methamphetamine. Methamphetamine is a powerful stimulant that affects the central nervous system. It acts as a stimulant in the following ways: decreased appetite, faster breathing / irregular heart rate, increased wakefulness, physical activity, and methamphetamine is mostly illegal. However, once again, don't know how to pronounce that.
Oh, Desoxin, sorry.
Yeah. Is a methamphetamine that can be prescribed in very small dosages to help people with ADHD. Meth abuse is associated with severe dental problems, extreme weight loss, intense itching and scratching, violent behavior, and memory loss. It's a Schedule II drug, meaning it is highly addictive. Artist Pink overdosed after claiming she used meth and Molly and acid for years. She recovered and claimed she never touched drugs ever again.
All right, so caffeine is the most widely consumed stimulant. It's present in coffee and tea, some sodas, and energy drinks. It acts as a stimulant in the following ways: has increased alertness, you feel more awake and less tired, and it manages headaches and drowsiness. And caffeine is fully legal and unregulated. However, ingesting 600 milligrams or more, which is about 7 cups of coffee, can lead to an overdose. And it's most commonly associated with coffee, common drink in pretty much everyone's daily routine. Next is Adderall. It's a drug used to treat narcolepsy and ADHD. It affects impulse control, and it acts as a stimulant, and the symptoms vary from person to person, but it can induce hyperactivity, a fast heart rate, and increased productivity. And Adderall is illegal in all US states without prescription. Laws for possession, distribution, and manufacturing vary. It's a Schedule II drug, and it's associated with making individuals extremely hyperactive, and it may cause heart damage from use over time, and it's very addictive.
Methylphenidate is ingested. Its brand name, so it's Ritalin SR, Concerta, and Medidate ER.
Yeah, Ritalin. Yep.
Yeah. Methylphenidate is a central nervous system stimulant. It's mainly used to treat ADD and ADHD. Methylphenidate acts as a stimulant in the following ways: increases attention, decreases hyperactivity, and decreases impulsiveness. Methylphenidate is a prescribed drug. It is taken in small doses because it is a habit-forming drug, and if you take too much, you may find that medication no longer controls the symptoms.
Is that a Schedule II drug as well?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. If not, it's a Schedule III, but I'm pretty sure it's Schedule II.
Mm-hmm.
Famous cases: Robert Downey Jr. He admitted to smoking crack and trying heroin. Sigmund Freud.
Freud.
He was a neurologist. He used cocaine and advocated it as an anesthetic. And he also claims it cured his friend's morphine addiction.
And that's it.
Awesome. Very informative. Lots of good stuff in there. Awesome. All right. Well, that was really informative, you guys. That was great. A lot of stuff I didn't know. Very, very good content. Very informative. I like the way everybody participated. Well done slides. And that was the purpose of this, to kind of connect it to famous cases and any criminal acts, and then as well as just getting information about the different classes of drugs. All right. All right, so what's next? So Monday, we've done 4 of them today. Monday, we have narcotics man-made, narcotics, natural narcotics, and then we have depressants. Is that it? I believe, right? Is there any one we're missing? I think that's it. Yes. So narcotics, man-made, you're ready to go for Monday? Yeah? Anybody there?
Yeah.
Okay, and we've got natural narcotics, Haya, Bella, Kayla, Alyssa, you ready to go for Monday?
Of course.
All right. And depressants, you ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do that on Monday. We'll do our live Zoom. We'll set it up just like today. In the meantime, I'm going to post those 4 presentations on Google Classroom at the end of the day today. It'll give everybody an opportunity to gather the material and content. All right. Quiz is not Monday, obviously. We'll finish with the 3 other presentations. Wednesday, during our 15-minute class, we'll kind of wrap up any questions you have for the quiz, and the quiz will be on Thursday. Everybody good to go? Anybody have any questions? That was really informative. I liked that. Cool. Great job, you guys. All right. Last chance for questions. All right.
Do we have to turn in each?
What, love?
Do we have to turn in each document about each drug?
No, good question. Those, you mean the individual sheets on the classes?
Yes.
No, that is totally for you.
Okay.
To just get information in the, get information about each class of drugs. That's why, along with the presentation, I like the presentation because we could ask questions, we could make comments, I could interject, but I'm going to take those presentations and post them, and you could just use those sheets for your own way of organizing the content. All right, Kayla?
Okay, thank you.
You do not have to hand those sheets in. They're purely for you. You do have to get the information though, but you don't have to hand them in. Okay? Any other questions? Good job today, you guys. I'll see you on Monday. Good job.